This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. The PM says arrest all hit-and-run drivers. A woman who violently abused a 6-year-old walks free. A man who is a total scumbag that preys on the weak now has some very serious questions to answer. And there is something pink in the water, and it is amazing. But firstly, to our headline story. I have covered more stories than I will ever remember, but there has only ever been one I have actually waited to hear, and it is this one. The headline read, "The PM orders hit-and-run drivers to be arrested without fear or favour." This news is welcomed by every single inhabitant of the kingdom, no matter what race, creed or age, but none more than those who have had a policeman standing on their doorstep saying a loved one has been killed and the driver fled the scene. Prime Minister Hun Manet has ordered police to act without fear or favour against all hit-and-run drivers. And this news is being very well received by all those who are utterly outraged and fed up with these killers being allowed to walk free, even if there is damning evidence against them. Experts say that this order will help end a culture of impunity related to traffic offences, where wealthy offenders often use their position or social status to intimidate police, and therefore to not arrest them, which simply makes them immune to the law. They kill through their reckless driving, and they suffer absolutely no consequences. But those days are over. A road safety researcher has said, "When a traffic accident occurs, some perpetrators run from the scene and avoid any responsibility. They also stay out of jail, and those hit-and-run drivers who get off scot-free are often people who have powerful friends protecting them. And low-ranking police officers do not take any action because they fear losing their jobs." The Ministry of Interior and National Police have ordered all police to take the strictest action against individuals who cause traffic accidents and flee. And if that is not enough, a clear warning has been issued that if any officer takes a bribe to assist anyone in flight from justice, they will be severely dealt with. But the PM himself also had so much more to say. Now I have come back onto camera as I wish to deliver this story ending because it is a real game changer. For what the PM told police is decisive. He said, if the victim and evidence are there, you are to arrest them on the spot. If they resist, handcuff them. If the evidence is there, just do it. Arrest them. He went even further, saying to officers, do not fear any individual's status, because I, the PM, will protect you. Now I have to tell you, I am simply elated by these words. And the reason is I travel over 25,000 kilometers a year by bike, and I have seen many dead bodies on the roads, nearly always children. And in all the accidents, the drivers have fled the scene. The worst was last December, about a year ago. I pulled over at an accident and I watched a child die at my feet. The driver had fled the scene and abandoned his truck. But now, hopefully, with the PM's support, lives will be saved, as drivers, instead of running away to save themselves, will now offer the wounded help, and that could save a child's life. Now As a carryover from our last story, it is rather nice to see that the PM's words are making a difference. On December the 14th, there was a traffic accident between a Jeep and a motorbike in Phnom Penh. The motorcyclist died on the spot, but the perpetrator did the traditional and he fled the scene. But he did not get far and has now been arrested. And if you think that is bad enough, there is another incident that is quite incredible. A reckless driver killed a mother and her 2-year-old child on Christmas Day. But I'm pleased to report he also has been arrested. It was the case of the murder of a motorcyclist that in fact prompted the PM to step in, and he ordered the arrest of the perpetrator and that the law be enforced. It was then the Phnom Penh Municipal Court issued a warrant for the arrest against the Jeep driver, a callous man named Vichet Sokard. With the news that the PM himself was now involved in the hunt for the driver himself did the only thing he could, and that was surrender. He was charged by police with reckless driving and negligence, as well as causing the death of another person, as well as escaping from the scene. He has now been jailed at the PJ prison in Phnom Penh. And here is why this story is so damn important. On Christmas Day that's just passed, a mother and father, as well as their small child, were heading home. Their motto was hit by a speeding Humvee. The mother and the 2-year-old child were killed. But instead of rendering aid and trying to help the victims in any way, the driver let a 2-year-old child die on the tarmac, as he just ran away from the scene of the accident. Well, now with the increased awareness, that driver also handed himself into the police, and he confessed that it was he who had left the father not only seriously injured in hospital, but had wiped out his family by his reckless driving. I'm sure many will be asking for additional jail time for all of those that flee accidents, as a very strong deterrent that this plague of fleeing drivers is finally put to an end. In our crime desk this week, a scumbag without equal, the child-beating mother walks free, and a whole host of cops are kicked out or suspended for bringing disgrace to the uniform. Let's face it, some people are just scumbags. They are the people who look to profit out of any situation, even other people's misery. And the man at the centre of this particular story is an enormous scumbag with almost no equal. The man has been arrested after extorting thousands of dollars from human trafficking victims within Cambodia. And what he did was he promised to rescue them. His scam was simple. He knew that there were families who would pay money to locate their children, who were trafficked to Cambodia to work illegally. So he created a TikTok channel, calling himself a knight, a man who rescued people that were put into forced labour. And 2 women working in Cambodia saw the TikTok channel and they contacted him so he could rescue them, as they were enslaved and were also frequently beaten and abused by their captors. He requested the women to pay him $7,000 up front. So he met them in a cafe to steal their cash, but that was the last time he preyed on those already enslaved, as police lay in wait and they arrested him. His name was La, as in the French for the, as in La scumbag, or as we say in English, the scumbag. A follow-up now on last week's story. The delightful lady who thought it was okay to beat and to tie up her 6-year-old child by its hands and its feet and leave her in front of her house. Well, she has now been released. It seems the investigating judge of the Phnom Penh Municipal Court has decided not to detain this woman. The court's decision came after the family decided to withdraw the complaint. Sources say that the family has a history of abuse towards that young girl, and they frequently discipline her. But unfortunately, this case for potential child abuse is not to be prosecuted, as the complaint has been withdrawn. But some say it should not be. They say that this type of crime should automatically be prosecuted so that all children can be protected by the law from any systematic abuse at the hands of their carers. There has been another round of police officers kicked off the force and suspended. And this time it's 26 police officers, some who tested positive for drugs. The Ministry of Interior has expelled 11 police officers and suspended another 15 from their duties over drug use or violating police discipline. Spokesman at the Ministry of Interior has said that the 11 officers were expelled in Prey Veng province after they tested positive for drugs, and they were all senior officers, 4 being second lieutenants and 3 first lieutenants. The 15 other officers were suspended because they violated national police discipline, including 2 lieutenant colonels, 10 captains, and 2 first lieutenants. Now, there has been a spate of these dismissals of late, and it shows a very clear sign that the police are now being told, you are not the law. You are the people who enforce the law, and that law also applies to you. Now, let us finish on some good news this week that rather deliriously involves a touch of the bizarre. Now, if I was to ask you to name a pink animal, 99% of you would say a flamingo, and the other 1%, who are a bit thick, would say a pink panther. But none would say a dolphin. And quite incredibly, an extremely rare group of pink dolphins has been spotted in Kampot. And don't think they're a bit pink. No, not at all. They are really pink. And not just that, they also have enormous brains. The director of Kampot Provincial Fishery Administration has said they have found about 15 or 20 pink dolphins in Kampot province, and the director has called on fishermen to take extra special care to protect these very rare creatures. They are in fact so rare that they are on the IUCN Red List as being extremely endangered species. And let's face facts, they do look like strawberry-flavoured hot dogs, but they are so damn cool. Now, here is some amazing facts about these dolphins that I think will impress you. And here's the first amazing fact. Pink river dolphins can actually change their colour, for they are famous for being pink, but they weren't always this way. The dolphins are born grey, and slowly as time passes by, they turn pink. And when the dolphins get excited, they can flush an even brighter pink, just like us humans do. Also, the pink river dolphin has the largest brain of any freshwater dolphin. They have unusually large brains, in fact, with 40% more brain capacity than humans. And there's even legend that claims that these dolphins morph into handsome men known to seduce and impregnate women by night. Another myth claims that if you go swimming alone, the dolphins may whisk you away to a magical underwater city. So, if being pink and having a brain capacity that's the size of a planet is not enough, they can even whisk you off to Atlantis. Now, how cool is that? It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week. And here it is. For once, I haven't lost the chart. What we have here is rain, sunshine and clouds across the board. But when there's an indicator of rain, it really is a small amount and you'd be damn unlucky to get hit by it because sunshine is dominant. It's about 95% plus of the time it is sunny weather or a little bit cloudy. The humidity is around the midway mark. All in all, it's bloody delicious. It's mighty fine weather, I'll tell you that. So you get out there and you enjoy it. This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly roundup.